First of all, if the United States has an opinion on this, I mean, there are quite a few, over 100 civilian casualties apparently. The president has publicly called for Israel to have a plan for civilians there. Are you under the impression that this is part of a larger operation? Was this a specific thing to get hostages? To what extent are you okay with this going ahead right after the president's conversation with the prime minister?
So a few things about that. One, I will say with respect to this specific set of airstrikes, I will let the Israeli government speak to what they were intended to do, what they were intended to accomplish. That's appropriate for them to speak to. I will say that as the president made clear, as the secretary made clear in his conversation with the prime minister and other members of the Israeli government on the trip last week, we do not support any military campaign in Rafah going forward, as long as they cannot properly account for the 1.1 million people, by some estimates, who are in Rafah today, some of whom have already been displaced, some of whom have been displaced multiple times. We think there needs to be a credible plan that they can actually execute before they undertake any military campaign in Rafah. Now, that said, they have conducted airstrikes against Rafah really since going back to the original days of the campaign. It is not our assessment that this airstrike is the launch of a full-scale offensive happening in Rafah. We just saw, obviously, the order from the prime minister last week to the Israeli military to develop a plan for dealing with Rafah. We look forward to reviewing that plan. We look forward to being briefed on it. And we will make clear, as we did last week and as the president did in his conversation over the weekend, that without such a plan that is credible and that they can execute, we do not support a full-scale military operation there going ahead.
And could I just push that briefly? We say you would not support it. I mean, this is, of course, the language of the White House as well. What does that actually mean? Does that mean say no, don't do it, it's not a good idea, or does that mean that there are actual repercussions or that to the relationship?
Look, I don't want to get ahead of the events as they currently stand today. They have said that they will implement, they will develop, and they will implement a humanitarian plan. We have made clear that we think it is imperative that they do so, and we're going to look and see what they develop.